What's up, YouTube? This is Call of Duty 4Man221, and we are playing with Heir of Carthage here. I am the French Guards, and this is the Pyramids map. So, let's wait for this to finish loading. This was a very fun battle I shot last night. We'll have Heir of Carthage's channel in the description, and hopefully his video response will be posted there too. So, he did a commentary on this late last night. I'm doing it this morning. Okay, so I am the British. I've got 7 foot, 5 light infantry. 2 of them are King's German light foot, which are the same thing, they just work green. Exact same statistics. I do have, actually I brought a lot of cavalry for once. I have 4 cavalry. Where are my cavalry? I have 4 cavalry. They are 1 dragoon unit, 2 German King's light dragoons, and then just 1 plain light dragoons. And then Heir's got 3, I believe 7 line infantry, 6 or 7 line infantry. He's got 5 guerrilla units. 1 lancer, 1 I don't know really what you classify these guys as, and then a skirmisher and 2 more line, 1 more skirmisher. Then he's got 3 basic skirmishing units, and then he's got some more cavalry. He's 12-pounder artillery, and I've got 2 experimental howitzers. The rules for this battle that I set were 5 max light and then 2 max artillery. But I forgot to say no fixed, so the Russian player is going to bring unicorns, and the Prussian player will bring, yeah, he'll bring rockets, as we can see over here. So immediately after the battle started, as you can see, I immediately ran all my troops. I always like being on this side, just because you can see the rockets flying. I like attacking this little town because I've attacked it from both sides. Now what I'm doing is I'm rushing up my cavalry just in case he wants to try to oppose me here. But what the major mistake my opponent made was, if you look at he completely is just sitting at this bottom of the hill right here, and if I put my troops right along here, which will greatly help, they'll be shooting downhill at his troops. So 4 units of dragoons, 3 light against 1 dragoon unit will obviously win. Then, so there goes his first cavalry. If I were him, I would have sent in my cavalry together, not so separated. I was a little worried about these dragoons coming, but they weren't gonna try to target my light. They're actually coming to assist his cavalry. But a little bit too late, because his cavalry got shredded. They've already lost 30 guys, and then they rout there. Now the reason I moved my troops up was because I knew that with his rockets he was targeting my artillery, which actually didn't do a lot in this battle, period. I was a little bit worried about my general, but there's a second cavalry engagement here. You can look on the mini-map, Heir of Carthage is advancing slowly. Like when you're fighting on this side, it's a whole lot different than fighting for a hill, because you got to advance carefully, and like he pointed out in his video, there's all sorts of hills, and if your troops are right here shooting at a troop on top of that by accident, like there's all this stuff to block you, so you kind of have to zoom in on your camera to see that kind of stuff. So I just routed his second cavalry, and my line infantry are coming into place, and these guys are shooting, but like he pointed out in his video, they're hitting the sand. Now my troops are hitting the sand because I did not realize that, like, well, they all just hit the sand there through the bullets. I did not realize that they were actually couldn't hit him. I didn't realize there's a little bit of a crescent here, so that line's gonna have to be up more, and I will move them up. And this whole running up the hill and like getting this position across the map, because I advanced from over here, I advanced all the way from like back here all the way on top of the hill, So my troops are really tired. And These two units, these couple units did not have a very good position, but I thought these guys had a little bit better. Anyway, eventually I'll move up my troops, and then, like I'm doing right now, trying to get them at the crest of the hill, and that is when this battle is going to turn in my favor. There's two types of units in Napoleon. There's the rifle type skirmisher with this sniper crosshair right here, and then there's the standard light infantry. Now, if it was 1 versus 1 on a flat map, these guys would win, unless these guys, the Sleazy and Sultan, have better range, 125 yards, while these guys only have 100. So these guys have bigger numbers, so almost in every fight it's better to have bigger numbers than better range if you can close the distance. As you can see, his troops are kind of poorly positioned here. He has 3 lines, and these guys, I believe, are shooting a bunch of these guys in the back and doing my job for me. And my dudes are fatigued because I'm moving them all around trying to shift my line, because you can't deploy your troops in certain places. I'm trying to thin out my line, and I'm moving these guys even closer, just trying to make sure they don't shoot the dirt. Yeah, so basically it's a downhill battle. And that guy just fell over. Now, what I did set up my artillery back here was to have these rockets, like try shooting at them. And he realizes that this is becoming a critical part, so he now moves over some musketeers. 2 musketeers and a foot guard. Now, if you look at that, he's automatically kind of opening himself up to flank attacks. And I think it is probably pretty interesting. Like, I like rushing, especially for hilltops. You know, like, there's some Napoleon games where you kind of like try to sit back and you fight for position, and it's artillery duel, and that's really boring. So I figured, you know, playing with a legend like Heir here, you know, I don't like to do the first thing I said, like just sit back and do an artillery duel like this guy planned. He planned for his rockets to do too much damage, because I didn't say fix. He's like, let me go with the cheap army here. Now, if you look here, I'm bringing my troops right here. They're running, but they're exhausted, so they're not running too fast. They're going to be right here, and they're going to be shooting down at those guys, and all their shots are going to hit this rock here. Now, these 2 units got pretty chewed up because there are foot guards, and there's lots of Sleazy and Schultzen. So you can see that my lines are pretty neat, while all of this is kind of messed up. Like, I got my line behind, and I even brought my line forward to help fire on the troops. And I withdrew my cavalry. Do I only have 1 cavalry unit? I think I withdrew my dragoons back. Oh yeah, I missed it. I sent my dragoons over, and then I attacked the Russian general on a suicide mission. He does have 3 chevrons, and so we're getting shot. But what I see is that they're shooting some of their own guys, and that's Count von Blangenstein. I don't really know how to pronounce that. And then he falls over right there. So instead of like, look, Russian like sends his guys, and I'm like, run away, guys, run away. But they get kind of stuck. One unit gets stuck, and my guys, I'm trying to run them away. And there is Cody Silman, 96. So it's looking all good over here right now. I mean, we're absolutely shredding these guys. Okay, this becomes like a critical part. He's sending foot guards to flank me, and I know that these foot, even if they do turn, I lost one of my light troops. If they do come and turn, these guys have no chance in defeating these guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to pull them back here and engage in melee, and then my dragoon unit, I'm gonna hit them in the rear and hopefully destroy them. So that was my plan there. Heir of Carthage is still kind of advancing on the Russian, because it's kind of hard. You can't just run your troops like when it's in the open. Like, I was able to run my guys up the hill, and his guys are even tired. So this humid weather makes men very tired. Also, what I didn't notice that the Russian didn't do was he didn't put these guys in that that thing that makes your guys go into light infantry mode, like when they're like this versus that. Oh yes, and back to this. So I send my guys into melee with these guys. I'm surprised their morale is already back, considering they've only lost a couple dudes, and then it goes back up when they see the dragoons coming. So honestly, I bring about 2 to 3 cavalry units to battle, and this time I decided to bring 4, which really paid off. I got rid of the Russian general, made Heir's fight easier, and also I use them for stuff like this from Rome Total War when you would hit their troops in the rear. But just alone, these guys would have died. Yeah, we pretty much shredded their line. If you look here, there's 26 out of these guys, and I don't know, maybe they ran out of ammo, and that guy, either way, they're running into a storm of bullets. And then around here, my troops started to use up all their ammo. And look here, so I don't know why, but I bypassed these rockets because he threw in his general here, and what a great opportunity to get rid of his general. And there goes Stanlow. I mean, I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying that he should have definitely at least tried to oppose me for this hill. Would have been a very different battle. So then I send my light dragoons in, who are exhausted after completing their mission on assassinating the Russian general. And more of my units starting to use their ammo, so I'm just going to charge them forward in. Let's go look over at Heir's side. He is... what he was explaining was he's kind of... There's cavalry in the forest, and he's kind of engaging in cavalry. He talked about how there's this like riverbed area. There's the main part, and then there's this side. So what he's doing is he's using his skirmishers to skirmish with these troops. But then the Russian brought up these musketeers. And he's moving these troops to flank, and then later I'm going to bring my troops up. But basically my battle's over. So all the rocket troops are gone. I believe these guys do come back, and they stand here and I shoot them. So I'm bringing my troops over to assist Heir. Okay, let's look at what he's doing. He's pointed out in his video that he did put his artillery up here to get a nice thing, but the Spanish don't really have good artillery, and you can tell that really only like good people play as the Spanish that know how to use them, because they're not the best faction in this game. But the problem with the Russian is that he only brought like 6 line infantry, and then he brought a ton of these guys. Now I think because of the hill, they're not shooting their guys, so some of his units got torn up. But the big thing is his flanking force, and also he has his cavalry nearby, because look, his center is completely held by Jaegers, which are not good in a melee with cavalry, period. And then we see my dragoons, after coming out of that suicide mission, charge back into Russian lines. So he's getting some really nice... He's going to move his troops onto this ridge right here, because he's like... His guys are shooting in the dirt too. It's very hard to like manage your stuff. And then he's going to bring his cavalry in and attack his guys and cause all this mayhem. And my guys are kind of sitting here. So I'm going to be kind of an overhead view. There his troops go in. They're getting a little bit shot by these Jaegers, but he's causing all this disruption. And there I tell my cavalry to go. I'm going to go try to take out these unicorns that he has, because those are what Heir was a little bit concerned about. Let's see. Also, he's getting some pretty good shots, but he realizes that these guys are just light infantrymen, so his cavalry can easily take them out. On this side, he's using his guerrilla troops, and he's shooting at these musketeers, and it wouldn't let him hide them in the woods, so that's why I didn't deploy him up further. Yeah, so he's shooting... I believe these guys are now shooting into the dirt. But these guys are going to come on the hill. And then my troops are coming. And, yes. I keep missing the shots of my dragoons, but these dragoons did very well. And they disrupted these guys long enough, and I figured they were going to die in that melee anyway. So I decided to send them into the back of these Jaegers. But unfortunately, they're so little in number, they don't really do a lot of damage, especially because it's 7 on 60 dudes. And I think he turned around some of his troops, and there goes my dragoons. But I'm bringing up all my other guys, but they're not really going to do much. What I was doing was I was trying to cut them off completely, but they were yeah, they were too far away. And it's kind of funny. These lifeguard horses are chasing Heir's general, who's running away now to his main body. I'm moving my artillery up through the town, but they honestly did nothing. They were slow this game. Should have brought horse artillery. Okay, so now Russian is trying to flank Heir's troops here. And also, Heir's completely winning in the middle. He's doing this bonsai charge into the Russian Jaegers because they can't handle it. Russian troops are retreating a lot. And 72 on 61. So those guys are basically shooting the Russians to death and doing bayonet charges. And he's about to fall over. So, what kind of went wrong? I would say that both of these armies, one, they didn't use any teamwork whatsoever. Like, you can see me coming to assist Heir, which he didn't really need, but it was just there to help him a little bit because it seemed like he was a little bit in trouble on this flank. But the Russians routed on that flank. Also, they both relied heavily on artillery. This guy brought the unicorns right here. They're not firing, they're just sitting there looking at their nice gun. And then this guy brought the rockets. So I believe their strategy they talked about, because I said no fixed, was to just bring artillery and outshoot us. And that makes for boring gameplay, so when that happens you have to attack. And these guys are bonsaiing. Yeah, I don't think when you've got... I think these line infantry should be more than enough to handle. Also, as you can see, a lot of his troops has experience chevrons. The Spanish have such cheap units they can actually do that. And, yeah, so Heir is won pretty much on this side. He's sending his cavalry to get rid of the last remnants. And I don't know what this guy was doing. It seemed like he... You know what? He quit the game. That's right. One of these guys quit the game, and I'm pretty sure it was this guy. Because, look, none of his troops are really moving. Or, no, I think it was Prussian that quit the game, the guy I beat. So my line infantry finally get here. And we finally get off some shots on the Russians. And we killed 4 Jaegers, and then they run away. So I wanted a little bit more kills than that. And then I'm throwing my... No, he's throwing his general in. By the way, I'm using a general's staff because I want to go heavier on cavalry. And my howitzers did absolutely nothing for me. And that's the battle. Heir of Carthage has 983 kills. I had 6 less. And I believe Prussian left. So let's look at unit statistics here. 5 kills and 23 kills. That's more than Heir of Carthage's cannons. But they really were just slow. If you look at the Dragoons, they killed a reasonable amount. Let's see who got the most kills. My Lightfoot got the most kills, along with some more foot. King's German Light got 48. So all my experimental howitzers, these guys didn't get a lot of kills. So it was a victory, good game to Heir of Carthage and our opponents. And this is Call Your 4-Man 221 signing off. Hope you enjoy.